Hey guys, welcome to a brand new video. My name is Vaughn Creates, and in today's video I'm going to be teaching you about camera lenses that are best suited for beginners. So before you even buy a camera lens, these are the questions that you will need to ask yourself. What sort of lens are you looking for? Are you shooting portraits or landscapes or any other sort of things? What focal length lens do you want? What is the f-stop number? What I mean by focal length, I mean how short or how long a lens is. So for example, a 70 to 300 lens, which is this, will be more suited to sports photography and wildlife photography if you don't want to get too close to the subject. The focal length is this. As you can see, I've just extended this lens to 300, which is the longest focal length that it can go. So I'll be super focused and be very up close to your subject. And if you want it to be 70, all you do is you do this. And that just goes back to 70mm, which is not wide, it's just very focused and very down the middle. Yeah, so 70 to 30mm lenses are preferably used for sports and for wildlife images, where wildlife photographers use it, sports photographers use that lens for capturing shots that are far away. It's a telephoto lens, which is a very useful lens to have if you're doing sports or you're doing wildlife photography. Now let me show you guys another example of a lens that I have, 24 to 70mm. Right here is the 24 to 70mm, which is a very good lens to have. It's very wide. That's what it looks like. A very wide lens. It's very good for getting wide shots. It's very good for landscape shots, street photography, video as well. I wouldn't say the aperture is good because of the fact that it's not got a low aperture. The downside of it is that it's f4, which means that you're not going to get a lot of light coming through the lens, which means it's going to be dark, and it's not very good for videography, as if you're in a nightclub, you're going to have additional light on top of your camera so that it doesn't look that bad in post with loads of ISO grain and stuff. So I would highly suggest to get a f1.8 lens or f1.2 or f1.4 lens, as it's a lot better, a lot more clearer, a lot more light goes through, which means that there'll be a lot more shallow depth of field, and you'll also get to see every single person in the club instead of just looking at a black screen. It's a 24 to 70mm, it just extends like this. Basically the same, the 70 to 300 that I showed before. Extends like that, I've extended it, so it looks like that. I enjoy using it a lot for street photography and when I'm going out with friends and just to get really wide shots. I told you guys this lens in my previous video. This lens is a beautiful lens. It's very sharp. It's really good for portraits. Very compressed lens. Don't really see that much. You just see the subject and the foreground. And I'd suggest this for any beginner photographers that are looking to start off doing portraits, because it's a very good lens. It's very cheap. You can get it for 50 quid, probably less on other websites. I highly suggest this lens. The focal length for this lens is 50mm and the aperture is f1.8, and yeah, it's one of the best lenses to have. Suggest it for anyone that wants to go into videography and shoot clubs and friends events and weddings. This is a good lens to carry along with you, as it's got shallow depth of field because it's a 1.8. Linking back to what I just said, f-stop description will be here. F-stop is basically the aperture. It's another name for the aperture of the lens. So your 1.8, your f1.2, your f1.4, your f4, your f11, that's the f-stop, which is also known as the aperture. Focal length is just how short or how long a lens is. So say for example what I said before, a 18 to 35, a 70 to 300 lens. So every lens does different things. So when you're getting a specific lens, you might be looking at prime lenses, you might be looking at macro lenses, you might be looking at telephoto lenses. It all is down to your own preference. So if you're a wildlife photographer, you're going to go look at telephoto lenses. If you're taking photos of lions, tigers, elephants, dolphins, etc., you're going to go for telephoto lenses, because the whole point is for you to not be seen and for you to get really close up to the creature and get that perfect photo for yourself. Yeah, so telephoto lenses will be highly suggestible for wildlife sports photography. When I first got my camera, my camera came with a kit lens. A kit lens is a lens that just comes with a camera, and it's a practice lens for any beginner photographer that wants to learn photography, to go out and practice with their mates and to take photos in like a park or in a field where you just get used to like your shutter speed, your aperture, your ISO, and you start to train yourself to get better and know your camera inside out. If you don't have a kit lens with your camera, then it's okay. You can go out and buy any lens that you feel is necessary for yourself and your own benefits. So if you're a videographer, you might go out and get low aperture lenses because be in dark situations a lot. So low aperture lenses are good. For someone that does wildlife, you'll look at telephoto lenses, or sports, you'll look at telephoto lenses. And for anyone that is into landscapes, into architecture stuff, you'll look at wide lenses because you want to capture the skyline, or you want to capture the top of buildings in like London or any place like that. Different lenses do different things. And it's just about your preferences, what you want to do, is what you want to shoot with. Wide lenses now, so I showed you a 24 to 70mm, which is a wide lens. It's a f4 aperture, so it means that one, it's a long lens, it's a 24 to 70mm, and two, it's got a f4 f-stop / aperture, which means that one, it's not good for depth of field because it's a f4, which is cap.
God, no cap, God. No cap.
In dark situations, it's quite poorly, so it means I have to find an additional light source, like a floodlight or something to go on top of my camera. In most cases, not all wide lenses are capped at f4. Some you can just go out and get that f2.8 or f1 or f1.2 if you're lucky to find one. For beginners, I'd highly suggest Sigma, as they are very sharp lenses and they're quite affordable for beginners, and quite a few expert photographers are looking at buying Sigmas because they're cheaper and they're just very sharp. This is the end of the video. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please drop a like, drop a subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.